So if you want to choose your boots like the pros do, then there's a massive choice out there. And today we're going to look at the top 30 players in the world as announced on the Balon D'or shortlist. Huge amount of options. There are some shocking omissions player-wise, some surprising choices boot-wise, and we're going to get into it.
So what's up guys, Matt
and Ian
from the Full Boots team, and as Ian said, we are going to be looking at the shortlist for the Balon D'or and also what boots they wear, and there are some shocking omissions. The three biggest boots on the market don't make an appearance, but a good place to start is what pair of boots?
Let's start with the Hypervenom Phantoms goal scorers boot, and we got 3 goal scorers in the list wearing the DF version.
So the DF version, and we do have the EA Sports one in hand. So this is one by Edinson Cavani, who has had a very good year. So it's not surprised that he's actually made the shortlist. He's probably had his best year.
Definitely deserved to be in, I think.
But we've also got Aubameyang, who's wearing these boots, the DF version, and there's also one more player in the DF as well. Lewandowski. So I think as a goal scorer's boot, I think the Hypervenom is worn by a lot of those, and the DF version. But later in the video, there's maybe the best goal scorer in the world at the moment, who's wearing the low cut version.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure he should have been put into the list, but we're going to get there in a bit and you guys can find out who it is. You might already even know. But yeah, I mean, like Hypervenom just seems to be like a real goal scorer's boot. So if you're looking at like, that's your kind of position, that's kind of stuff you like, then I think people like the fact that you've got the lacing off to the side. Just gives it a nice strike, and it has those kind of extra little elements, and it's all about like.
I like them
goals.
too.
Hypervenom's a goals boot. Oh, you know.
I like them too. As a centre half,
back.
I think they're comfortable. I love the upper on them, so I think as overall, I think these are a very good pair of boots.
All right, so we're going to move on to something which is a little bit surprising. We're going to start talking about the Nemesis. So, massive marketing campaign from Adidas, and obviously, like, this is the boot that a lot of you have been told that you should be getting. So you've got the 360 agility, and then we've got the 17.1s. Who in the list is wearing these?
No one in the list is wearing the 360 agility, which is a massive surprise because they are one of the most high-profile pair of boots on the market. It's also one of the most expensive. Yeah,
they're so expensive, and that's the thing. There's some expensive boots in this list that you guys are gonna be like, "What? The pros aren't wearing them?" Like, stay tuned. You're gonna be surprised. So, yeah, there's nobody wearing these. It's just lack of player support. Like, nobody's really moved into them. It's a relatively new boot. Maybe over time they'll get more players to move across, but it's hard to get players to change boots.
Well, I mean, the biggest player who actually wears the Nemesis 360 agility is Juan Mata, and do you know what? He's a good footballer. There's no doubt about it. He's had a good year, but he's nowhere near the same level as these guys.
So, there is a player who obviously is wearing the Nemesis, but he's not quite wearing the Nemesis.
That's Lionel Messi.
Yeah,
so we've got the 17.1s in hand, and you might expect they've got the Messi branding on here, but these still aren't the ones that he actually wears himself, which is a bit of a surprise and also a disappointment. If I was a young player and I told my parents I want the Messi boots, we got these expensive, but they're still not the same ones as what Messi wears himself.
No, so Messi has this kind of burrito tongue and slight change on it. There is extra stuff on this version that you are getting. Messi's got, he has his original agility net, which is different than the stuff that you get on these ones. So they are like Messi-fied, but they're not quite as messy as Messi.
Look, I like these boots, just like the Hypervenoms. I think
you tested them, you really like them.
I tested them, and these could be one of my boots for this season coming up for me. So my next boots could be these, but I still think it's a surprise, and you're going to see it later in the video as well. Although the 360 agilities are the most expensive ones, I still would prefer these 17.1s personally.
Yeah, we're talking pro choices, and it's the fact that a lot of the pros are making some choices that you guys perhaps weren't expecting, and we'll get onto it. So let's move on, and let's talk about somebody who probably is going to win the Balon d'Or.
We're talking about CR7?
Well, yeah, we've got to. So that's a pro level boot. Here we go. So these are the brand new chapter 5s for him. They're really nice in hand. We're going to have a review of these coming on the channel really soon, like maybe even at the weekend. They seem quite nice in hand.
Look, these Superfly 5s are all about performance. That's why they're so expensive, why Ronaldo wears them. But the thing is, not many other pros wear the Superfly 5s. The Vapor 11s are so popular, which you're going to be seeing later. But in this shortlist for the Balon d'Or, there's only one player that does wear the Superfly 5s, that is CR7. But does he actually wear the ones that we're holding?
Well, pretty much. I mean, it's just a cut collar, a little bit lower, and then there's maybe some slight other little things that we can't tell on there that changed for him. But yeah, that's the surprise. Like there's nobody wearing the Superfly in this list.
That's it.
Well, I mean, one player. But then perhaps like France Football made the list of these 30 players, so it's not the FIFA Balon d'Or anymore. They've made their list of 30 players. But Alexis Sanchez, he wore a Superfly.
And he's quality.
Should he be in there?
He's a quality player, but I think one thing for me about the Superfly, as I said, they're all about performance. But are they the most comfortable pair of boots? I'm going to say hands down, no, they're not. You're probably going to get a blister, especially if they're brand new. You're going to have to break them in for such a long time, and that might be a factor for some players. They might not be comfortable enough for them.
I mean, that's the thing. Players want comfortable boots to play in. A lot of players don't. Like, you'd be surprised that a lot of players don't actually know that much about boots. Like, they wear them and they wear what they're paid to wear, and they just want to wear something that's comfortable, and they don't necessarily want like all this new tech and stuff. And like, is it necessarily necessary when you've got like Ronaldo who doesn't necessarily want this collar on here, Messi who doesn't want that on his boots? Let's move on, and we'll talk about the Vapor 11s as you were saying. Now, this is the one thing in this list is the Vapor 11 is like massive in the Balon d'Or list. I'm just going to rattle off like all these players who are wearing them: Neymar, Eden Hazard, Modric, Isco, Mbappe, Coutinho, Mertens, Falcao, and Mane. Like,
for me, all right. So the Balon d'Or. So obviously for the last kind of 10 years, it's been Messi and Ronaldo dominating it. Messi's a great footballer. Ronaldo's a great scorer. Still a very good footballer. But for me, I think the Balon d'Or should be for the best player of that year. Now, when we're looking at the Vapor 11, in my opinion, I am a Real Madrid fan. But the two players who've impressed me the most this 12 months is Isco and Modric. And they both wear the Vapors. Now, we said the Superfly Fires were very high performing but uncomfortable. Now, the good thing about the Vapor 11 is they're still very high performing but much more comfortable.
Yeah, and they got a little bit of the kind of enhancements. Like they have that same sole plate.
Yeah.
It's just that you're not got that kind of the flying it up, and this is a bit more kind of give around the ankle and all that kind of stuff. And obviously these are massively popular. So I think the one thing, if you take anything out of this video and you're looking and you want to pick your boots like a pro player does, then you've got to consider the Vapor 11s.
Well, I mean, if you're a young player and you want to copy like Ronaldo, so far for the last kind of so many years, it's all been about the Superfly 5. But looking at players coming through who could win in the future, Mbappe is probably the likely successor to take the Balon d'Or crown, and he actually wear the Vapor 11, so maybe in the future these are going to be the most popular mercurial boots.
Do you think he's going to get it before Neymar? Is Neymar going to get it?
I don't think Neymar will. I'm not too sure about his attitude, and also I think as a footballer, Neymar's quite flash, but I think Mbappe is a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and like you've got to win stuff as well, and it's like, who's going to win stuff? That's the thing, because like Ronaldo's been carving up with winning stuff, so people going, oh, Messi's a better player, but like if Ronaldo's winning everything, then you can't not give it to him.
Exactly.
Like they're all scoring a lot of goals, it has to be like that extra stuff that's going to take you to the next level. So there's some other players that we can look at in a minute. We're going to talk about this guy that is in the list, and I'm not really sure. Harry Kane.
Look, I've seen him play live a couple of times, and he's such an unorthodox footballer. He doesn't run properly, he doesn't strike the ball with elegance, he doesn't touch the ball with elegance, but he scores so many goals. Premier League, probably the hardest league in the world to score goals, and he's done it for like 4 seasons in a row.
You can't argue with goals, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But he's one of those players who I don't think necessarily rises to the full occasion properly. So take the World Cup, he was such a disappointment for England. He was trying to take these free kicks and he was kicking them out of a stand and stuff like that when England were trying to do well at the Euros, and like, I don't think you can rely on him in those big games. And Spurs don't necessarily play that many big games. And like, they haven't quite won anything, you know? Like,
well, it's funny you say that.
So like, you've got to win stuff to win stuff. And I don't think he's going to win stuff.
Well, you said that about Harry Kane, how he didn't really perform for England. And looking at England's most recent fixtures in the friendlies and also the internationals, so the World Cup, Canada qualifiers, Dele Alli is exactly the same, so maybe it's a Spurs thing. I'm not too sure, but Harry Kane wears the Phantom 3 lows, which are a great boot. Yeah. Probably a boot that I will wear myself. But Dele Alli, he wears the Pure Controls as well.
But another one that we were talking about. So obviously the Pure Control, massive marketing. You've got like Ozil, Pogba, Dele Alli.
Yeah.
How many of those players are in this top 30?
0.
None. So this is the Pure Control, like massive like PR around it, and there's not any pro players in the list. Is it that the boot isn't as good as perhaps is marketed, or is it just the fact that the players didn't quite reach the level, or even perhaps they should have been in the list and they weren't? Like,
I think Pogba's a good footballer, Ozil's a great footballer, and Dele Alli's a good footballer, but the Pure Control just isn't that good a football boot. I love that it's got no laces, alright? That's a very cool feature, but it is a bit gimmicky. But I think if you want a very high performing boot, you should probably just go lace up the Primates. Yeah. They're just going to fit you a little bit tighter for lockdown and response.
And you're still getting that kind of the Primate upper and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I think like Arsenal's season definitely like affected this list. Like no Sanchez, no Ozil.
Oh no.
Like,
I just think as a football boot point of view, it's a massive surprise that there's no 360 agility, there's no Pure Control, and there's no genuine Superfly, which for me, these are the 3 biggest boots on the market. They're the most expensive, they're marketed the most, they've got players marketing these boots that don't even wear them properly, but they still don't make the Balon d'Or list because not a lot of players actually wear them.
No. Alright, so one player who kind of is still making his mind up on boots is Paulo Dybala, and like, so he's at the moment wearing blackout X17s, but like he's worn like blackout Pumas and he's just trying stuff. I think he's an X17s at the moment. He's a bit of an anomaly in this list. Decent player though. Like, he needs to go somewhere, doesn't he, brand wise?
100%, yeah. I think
why hasn't he revealed anything yet? Like, is he just holding out for money? Because
I think it's a money thing.
He's just waiting for like
most
deal.
Most of the time with footballers and boots, it is a money situation. We saw it with Verratti as well. But just like Mbappe, Dybala is a huge player and probably another player who could be a successor to Messi and Ronaldo for the Balon d'Or. Now, for me, I think the 2 good choices he could make boot-wise is either the Superfly 5, he wore them before, he was great in them, or the Pure Speeds.
Yeah, one of the 2.
2 good pairs of boots. I quite like the Pure Speeds on him.
The Pure Speeds is actually a surprising choice. There's 3 players in the list that are wearing those. So you got Conte, Dzeko and Dobala are all in the pure speeds. It's not a bad boot, really.
I think they're a great boot. Probably alongside the Nemesis 17.1, my second choice for an Adidas boot. They're actually so comfortable. I know they're a speed themed boot, but the upper is so soft. They're really nice to play.
And the fact that they kept the laces in there, that they've managed to put the cover on it, it's like they perhaps should do like a little lace cover type thing with the pure controls. Maybe that would be.
It's a good option.
Probably be a step back, I suppose, but decent boot. So yeah, those players are in there. Like, how does Dzeko get into this list, but Sergio Aguero doesn't?
Bale doesn't.
Bale, like no Bale, like
in the X's.
Well, yeah, he's an X17 player.
He's the biggest X player and one of the biggest players in the world, but hasn't made the list. I know he's had a couple of injuries, but I mean, if you're looking at this list and there's some players like Dzeko in there, I'm saying Bale has to be chucked in.
Yeah, I agree. So we're talking X17. Bale doesn't wear the pure speeds, and then you've got kind of the likes of Suarez, who kind of markets pure speeds, but he really wears like a 17.1. But who's to say like what kind of upper these players have got? Because we don't like the 17.1 upper; it's far too stiff. But the players might be wearing their pro versions, and that's one of the things you can't necessarily tell what players wearing. You got like say Iniesta, he has like his own custom upper and sole plates and stuff like that. We've talked about that a lot before, so we won't get into that today. But you've got like Marcelo, Luis Suarez, and David De Gea in the X17s at the moment in the list.
The X is a very big boot, just like we saw with Nike with the Vapor. The Vapor is Nike's biggest boot, most worn by a mile, and the X is exactly the same for Adidas. So the Vapor and the X are the two biggest boots for both brands.
Now, moving on to another Nike boot, you've got Sergio Ramos and Jan Oblak, and they wear the Timpo Legend 7s.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Legend 7. Because I mean, I'm 26 and I grew up, maybe in the last 10 years, the Legends have been so nice. They've been unbelievable high quality, really comfortable. And I know Nike are trying to push it a bit more modern, but I think they've gone a little bit too far. With the Flyknit tongue, and also the leather on the upper is nice, but it's not as it once was, maybe a few years ago, which is a bit of a shame for me, but they are very lightweight.
They're a great boot, and I think they actually probably are better than they were before, because they had these reliability problems, and they've sorted that out and they've made them lighter, and like you've got like the likes of like the Copper 18 that's going to go and have like a prime knit like back to them now. Like it's the way boots are going, and I agree with you on the leather, and it's perhaps just we wait for like a special edition. If you want to get a Timpo, then you get like a Leggera leather, like you go and try and get that slightly nicer one if that's what you're looking for. But I think they're a very decent boot. Players who are into that, I think it's good.
I think they're very versatile. You can be any type of player, any type of position, any type of level, and still go for the Timpo. If it's a Legend, you've got the money, then go ahead. But I think these are actually pretty good, and they're not as expensive as some of the other boots that are on the table.
Yeah, like
which I prefer. I prefer these over the Superfly.
Yeah, if you want to get like an anti-clog boot or something, then get the Timpos, because like those are going to be the cheapest price point for getting in at those, which is great. So we haven't talked anything about Puma yet. Couple of players. Puma boots, like they're just like what is going on at the moment, and they've got some more stuff coming out. Like there's no Eva Power in this list, and they've got Buffon and Griezmann are the two players. Now people are like all over Griezmann. Is he going to be like in the top 3-4 in this list?
Griezmann is class. Yeah. Griezmann's a good footballer, but Puma must be paying him so much money to keep him in these boots, because for me, he should be Adidas or Nike all day long, because they are just better boots, and he is so good enough to like be one of their headline players.
Yes.
So Puma must be paying so much money.
Well, yeah, all the money they used to spend on Balotelli's gone to Griezmann, I suppose.
Pretty much.
It's interesting because he doesn't really like the leather ones. They made him these like special kind of synthetic ones. Yeah. There's a lot of players who aren't getting on with the Puma ones. So you've got like a new Puma coming out beginning of next year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that really is the solution for them. I've seen some pictures of those, and I'm not.
They're trying something different, something to do with fit, so you can kind of customize the fit exactly how you want. But they're copycats, aren't they? Puma copy Nike and Adidas. That's the kind of way it works. Nike,
to be fair, like everybody copies each other, and like something's a good idea. But like we're not talking like 10 years ago. Nobody would had a collar on their boots, did they? Like now everybody does. It's madness. But like interesting, like this talk, like how much collar boots? How well are the collar boots doing this list? Because if you go through, okay, you've got 3 like collar boots and then Phantom DFs.
Yeah.
Then like this is not really a collar if you just push that bit down. So that's like scratch that. So that one's not. Mm-hmm. Ronaldo cuts his collar. Then you've got 9 like vapor wearers who don't have a collar. Harry Kane low. Like the pure speeds, like okay, it's a bit of a collar, I suppose. X17.1s, yeah. And then like a couple of Ogra players, like I'd say maybe 2/3 of this list and no collar. And you get a lot of stick for saying you don't like the collar. Oh, Matt, shut up about the collar.
Yeah.
But it's true.
The fact of the matter is, the low cut boots are actually better football boots. Like they're better performing. Like these brands are saying the collar gives you a better fit, more kind of like locked down, responsive and sock like. But they're really soft. Around the heel, the boots with a collar are very soft. when you look at kind of like the low cut Hypervenom and the Vapor, they fit around your foot so much tighter, but still comfortable.
Yeah.
So they're going to give you more performance.
And you've got people with wide feet, they're struggling to get them on. They keep like messing around with the collars to try and make it a little bit more comfortable, because like, you remember how like bad the blisters were on the original releases, and they're like offsetting things, or like the Obras, they're like popping out, oh that's not an Obra, but the Obras, they're like popping it out on the sides for this. But it's like, it's almost a little bit unnecessary. So if you want to pick your boots like a pro, the pros aren't buying the collar boots. Like what Matt has said to you in the past is true. Like, you're probably much better off with those low ones.
It's a great selling point. A lot of kids love it because it looks different. But if you want the best performing boots and also the most comfortable, the low cuts are going to be the ones to get, just like the pro players do.
Now I'm realising there's 2 more boots to go. So there's the A17.1s, which are worn by Matt Hummels.
Yeah.
And the other ones we've got Kareem Benzema, and he is in the X17.1s, and I missed him out when we were talking about Marcelo, Suarez and De Gea, who are already in the X17.1s. But that pretty much wraps up our list and our video. Guys, what boot would you choose? I mean, are we going to ask like collar or no collar, or are we just going to have which one would they choose out of all these?
Let's put a list down and they get to choose, like with collars and low cut, and then we can see what they think about it.
Because we can do like 5 boots.
Yeah. So we'll put like Superfly, Nemesis, but then a couple low cuts like the Vapor.
Yeah. I think that's the question. It's almost like, would you go Superfly or Vapor?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Would you go...
I'll go Vapor all day.
Yeah.
All day long Vapor.
Go vote the poll card. Let us know what you thought of this video, guys, in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Go enjoy your football.